On this episode of the Otaku Experience, we're going to take a look at the top 30 most anticipated shows for the fall 2023 anime season. Studio Ghibli is looking to be acquired by Nippon TV, and then some other announcements as well. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Otaku Experience, the anime non-news show where we talk about the current goings-on in the anime and the manga industry with our very uneducated opinions. I am your host, Israel. Hello! How you guys doing? Little quick thing. If I sound awful in this episode, it's because I feel awful. I have awful seasonal allergies, and as the summer slowly shifts into the fall, I've just been sneezing nonstop and I'm super congested. So if I sound super nasally or if my throat sounds dry or whatever, that is why. But it's going to be a cool episode of the Otaku Experience because it is almost the fall season. How? I don't know. We're already almost 3/4 through the year. But anyways, the fall 2023 anime season is coming up, and I think this is usually the season where a lot of the good stuff comes out. A lot of anime studios will save some of their best stuff for fall. It's not always true, but it is. I found it to be more often than not the case for that. So it's going to be an awesome time looking through some of these anime. If you guys follow me outside of the Otaku Experience, you may have seen the stream I did over on my main YouTube channel, Kingtanic, right there, where we did a stream over the weekend talking about anime I was going to be watching in this season. It's unlisted now, so you cannot see that stream, but thank you for those of you guys that joined. I saw some familiar faces from the Otaku Experience, so it's nice to see that you guys, some of you guys are hopping over there and you want to see more of me. Very flattering. It's very nice. And we had a good time over there, so make sure you subscribe over to my main channel so that way you can see when those videos drops and other things like that. Okay, so it's time for us to take a look at the most popular or the most anticipated anime of the next anime season. So obviously we're going to be going over to AniChart. This is the thing I like to use. A lot of people use livechart.me. A lot of people use my anime list. Me personally, I like to use AniChart. To me, I just like the aesthetic and the user interface of it the most. And it's just the one I like to use. And so they have, if I zoom out a bit, I think, yeah, there it is. You can see that they have a top 30 numbered ranking list. This says number 16. That's weird. Anyways, but it goes down all the way to 30 down here. As you can see, I already have some of these selected because I've already gone through these in that stream, but that's not what this is about. This is mainly about you guys. This is me just letting you guys know what shows are coming out. I'm obviously going to tell you which ones I'm watching and which ones I'm not, but the whole idea, the main idea at least, is to give you guys an update and a sense of what's coming out so that way you know what to keep an eye out for. Because there's going to be shows that I'm personally not interested in watching that might speak to you guys. And so I want you guys to be able to know about those shows coming out. So without any further ado, I'm going to get a drink of water because my throat is dry from these allergies. We're going to move on over to AniChart here, and we're going to start out with the most anticipated show of fall 2023, which is The Rising of Shield Hero Season 3. The third season of Tate no Yusha no Nariagari. After defeating the Spirit Tortoise, Naofumi has no time for rest. An attack from the next guardian beast is imminent, but the three other cardinal heroes have gone missing. So Naofumi and his party set out to search for the legendary trio. So this is the sequel to The Rising of Shield Hero Season 2. I hated that season, and so I personally am going to check this out because I still really liked the first season, and the trailer for this gave me a little bit of hope that it's going to be more like the first than the second season. But I'm not confirming or not whether I will finish the show. I will give it a few episodes, and if it's more like the second season, I'm probably going to drop out. But I'm hoping that the second season was more of an anomaly rather than the norm. You know what I mean? So anyways, moving over into the number 2 most anticipated show of the season, we have Spy Family Season 2. This is obviously the sequel. No synopsis required for this. This is obviously the sequel to one of the biggest anime that came out last year. There's also a movie coming out later this year as well, at least for in Japan. In us, for the States and the international markets, we'll probably get it early to mid next year. But from what I know, it's an original story that has nothing to do with the actual plot of the anime, so it won't really affect our viewing experience. And I think it's coming out at the end of the season regardless, so we should be fine. So I'm obviously going to be checking out that because I loved Spy Family as well. Then we have Goblin Slayer 2 at the third most anticipated anime of the next season. And this is the second season of Goblin Slayer. Now, I have heard of Goblin Slayer. I've never watched it. And I looked into the first season, and it seemed interesting. And it seemed like, if you guys don't know what this is, it's an action-adventure fantasy series, as you can see by the tags here. And it's about the guy in the knight over here. He kind of looks like the villain, but he's actually the Goblin Slayer. And it kind of has this mythology in it, and the goblins have like this lore behind them. And I thought it was just really interesting. So I have this as a question mark or maybe watching, because I'm going to check out the first season, and I'm not going to confirm if I'm going to watch the second season, because if I don't like the first season, I won't finish it and I won't be able to watch the second season. So the second season is a maybe because I was interested in what the first season had to offer. But I know that this is a very popular show. And so a lot of people definitely are going to be checking this out. Then we have The Eminence in Shadow Season 2, and it says the second season of Kage no Ditsuryu Kusha ni Naritakute. Everything has been going according to plan, but the hour of awakening draws near. Sid Kageno and Shadow Garden investigate the lawless city, a cesspool where the red moon hangs low in the sky, and 3 powerful monarchs rule the streets. The true draw for Sid, however, is one who can draw blood, the Blood Queen, a vampire who has slumbered in her coffin for eons. Her awakening approaches, and Sid could finally face the day of reckoning. I think I just got spit on my lip. But anyways, you didn't see any of that. But and they have already premiered the first episode at Anime Expo back in July. And I think that this first season I loved. It seems like people either hate it because they think it's garbage, or people love it because they think it's garbage. I'm one of the people who loves it because they think it's garbage. I think it's great. It's one of those things that it's kind of like playing on all of the tropes and just owning what type of show it is. It knows the tropes that are in it. It knows what people are coming to expect. And instead of playing those moments and those tropes as if they're serious things that are big to the characters, it almost plays it off as a joke. And so it's gone into a satire area, but I can't even call it satire because it doesn't necessarily feel like a satire. It feels very self-aware in the sense that it's making fun of the genre that it's in, while at the same time being very much a part of that genre. It's weird. It's a good watch, at least in my opinion, but I know that some people don't like it. But I would recommend at least checking it out if you haven't already. And I'm, of course, going to be checking out this second season because I really loved the first season. So then we have one of my most anticipated anime of the entire year, and that is Frieren Beyond Journeys. And I've been saying Frieren this whole time, but I've heard people who have read the manga and know the story already, and I guess it's pronounced Frieren. I've only been reading the English translation of the name, and so I've always just read it as Frieren, but it is Frieren. And so Frieren Beyond Journey's End is one of my most anticipated anime of the entire year, and it's like my second most anticipated anime, second or third of just this fall season. And I'm very excited for it. For those of you guys who don't know what it's about and haven't heard me been talking about it all year long, here's the synopsis. The adventure is over, but life goes on for an elf mage just beginning to learn what living is all about. Elf mage Frieren and her courageous fellow adventurers have defeated the Demon King and brought peace to the land. But Frieren will long outlive the rest of her former party. How will she come to understand what life means to the people around her? Decades after their victory, the funeral of one of her friends confronts Frieren with her own near immortality. Frieren sets out to fulfill the last wishes of her comrades and find herself beginning a new adventure. So it feels very introspective. She's going to be dealing with the fact that all of her friends are eventually going to die, but she won't unless she's like killed or something like that, but she'll basically live forever. And it's like, well, what is the meaning of life for me compared to my friends who, no matter what, will die, and that's not necessarily a set fate for me? And so what does that really mean? And I love it. The trailers have been amazing. The animation looks fantastic. Everything that I've seen about reviews or reaction to the manga, the source material, everything has sounded amazing. I think that this is going to be a heavy anime of the year contender, at least at the Anime Trending Awards, because as we know, Crunchyroll changed their their I guess borders for their qualifications, where now it has to finish by September, I believe, unless they change it again this year. And so this won't even be nominated for this Crunchyroll Awards. Instead, we'll get stuff like Chainsaw Man and Bocchi the Rock, stuff that came out last year, rather than Frieren. So I think that Frieren we will see as a big contender at the Anime Trending Award, but not necessarily at the Crunchyroll Awards. And I'm just, you know, it's one of those things where I'm just so freaking excited for it. Like, oh, I'm so excited. Please don't let me down. Please be an amazing adaptation. But anyways, we're going to move on to the next one, which is Dr. Stone, New World Part 2. This is the second core of Dr. Stone, New World, something that came out earlier this year. And I'm still not caught up on Dr. Stone, so that's why I have it as a question mark, because if I get to this part, I will watch it, but if I don't, no promises. That's that for me. I think you would know what Dr. Stone is at this point, because it's like the second half of the third season. It's been out for a while. Okay, anyways, we're moving on to the Apothecary Diaries, something that we've been talking about more recently, something that hasn't mainly been talked about a lot in terms of the anticipation space going into this season. But suddenly in like the past month or so, people really started talking about this and momentum really started building, as well as the marketing and things like that. And so if you don't know what this is, it says Mamao lived a peaceful life with her apothecary father until one day she sold as a lowly servant to the emperor's palace. But she wasn't meant for a compliant life among royalty. So when imperial heirs fall ill, she decides to step in and find a cure. This catches the eye of Jinshi, a handsome palace official who promotes her. Now she's making a name for herself, solving medical mysteries. And so the source material seems to be really good. Like, to me, this sounds more like just, you know, one of those medicine type shows, which, you know, you wouldn't think is like its own genre, but we've seen so many of them that it kind of has become its own genre. We've seen a lot of isekais like that, where people... It's kind of different in the sense that because it's an isekai, they come from the modern world and they know about modern medicine and stuff, and so they start creating cures for illnesses that haven't been cured in that world yet. Whereas this sounds just more like she's just more, I guess, attuned to these types of things, and she's just smarter than everyone else when it comes to finding a cure for these things. It sounds fun. It sounds fine, I guess. I wouldn't be as interested in it as I am if I hadn't seen the reception and the popularity of the light novel, which has been fantastic. So I'm going to be checking this one out as well, and that was the Apothecary Diaries. Then we have Tokyo Revengers, Tenjiku Hen, which is the third season of Tokyo Revengers, and Tokyo Revengers Season 2, I believe, came out earlier this year as well. I'm not caught up on Tokyo Revengers. That's why there's a question mark there. So if I catch up, I will watch this. If not, if I don't have time, or if I just miss it, or I have to sacrifice it for something else, then I won't. That's usually what these question marks mean, is usually just means I'm not caught up on something. Then we have Undead Unluck here. And it says, all Fuko wants is a passionate romance like the one in her favorite shoujo manga. Unfortunately, her unluck ability makes that impossible. But just as Fuko hits rock bottom, Andy sweeps her off her feet, literally. Now she becomes Andy's unwilling test subject as he works to find a way to trigger a stroke of unluck big enough to kill him for good. However, when the pair discovers a secret organization is hunting them, it puts Andy's burial plans on hold. This one personally didn't sound all that interesting to me, but I know that a lot of people are going to check this out, which is why it's like, you know, what number is this? This is number 9 on the most popular or most anticipated anime coming out this season. So obviously a lot of people are interested in this. It didn't catch my attention, but like I usually put an asterisk on most anime that I'm not interested in. If I hear good things about it, I will check it out. That's kind of like the unspoken rule with these things. Then we have the Faraway Paladin, the Lord of Rust Mountains. Let me get another sip here. The second season of The Faraway Paladin. 2 years have passed since he left the City of Dead, and Will was 17 by count. As a lord, he developed Torchport, a river port of light, and gradually the people's activities and smiles returned to Beast Woods. However, out-of-season flowers bloom profusely, and an abnormality is discovered in the forest. Will and his friends head into the depth of the forest to solve this problem and receive an ominous prophecy from the king of the forest. In the Iron Rust Mountains, the fire of black calamity will occur. The fire will spread or it will burn everything in this land. What is the calamity that keeps in the ruined dwarven city of Tetsusabi San Myaku? So I didn't watch the first season of this. I wasn't really interested in it. And so I'm not going to be checking out this second season myself, but I know that a lot of people are. So I hope y'all have fun with that. Then we have the rom-com section where we'll have a few of these here, as you can see. My favorite part of the thing. If you're new here, if you don't know me, I love rom-coms. They are my kryptonite. Every anime fan has a genre that they will basically watch everything in it that comes out in an anime season. For a lot of people, that's isekai or the fantasy stuff or shonen stuff. For me, that's rom-coms. I love them. If they're slice of life rom-coms, even better. It's my garbage. I love it. Leave me alone. You know, I saw someone comment on the last Otaku Experience episode where I did, I think it was for the summer anime. It was the last time we talked about, you know, what anime we were going to be watching in the next anime season. And they were like, you know, I was hoping to have more of objective choices here, but you clearly have a taste in certain types of genres, and so I'm gonna go listen to someone more unfiltered. And I was kind of just like, what are you talking about? Like, of course I'm gonna have an opinion. Like, I'm gonna watch the shows that I'm interested in. What am I supposed to watch every single show ever? There's like 60 shows here. Like, I'm not gonna be able to watch all of those. So I have to limit them to the shows that I'm interested in. But what I always have is an asterisk saying that either A, if I'm not interested in, I hope you guys enjoy it. And B, if it gets good reviews, I might and possibly most likely will check it out. But just if the synopsis doesn't catch my interest right off the get-go, I'm not just going to watch it just because I cover anime. Like, I'm not just going to do that. You know, I already watched so many things, and especially doing this show now and other stuff going on in my life outside of content, I just don't have time to watch every single thing. So, but hey, you know, that was his opinion. That's fair. And I hope he found someone who was offering him what he wanted to have. But anyways, we have Keikenzumi na Kimi to Keiken Zero na Ore ga Otsukiai Suru Hanashi. And this is a rom-com. And it says this. The story centers on the relationship between Ryuto Kashima, a gloomy social outcast, and Runa Shirakawa, a popular did I say a popular school at girl? A popular girl at school. Wow, is real. The relationship begins when Ryuto asks Runa out as part of losing a game. She ends up going out with him after saying, well, I'm free right now after all. They have completely different social circles and completely different hobbies. But as they hang out with each other, they begin to recognize and even accept those differences as something to bond over. So I think the English title of this is like, you have more relationship experience than I do, or something along the lines of that, where she's popular. So she's probably had many boyfriends that didn't last, or, you know, a lot of guys were interested in her and, you know, nothing came out of it. He has no relationship experience. In fact, he only asked her out because he lost a game, and, you know, that's how it goes when you're a dude. And then they end up actually bonding and forming a relationship through that. I think it'll be fun. It'll have a lot of hijinks that I enjoy in this type of genre, where one person takes the lead through the other for the other person, because the other person has no experience in this, and they're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Like, you see, like, she's holding his arm and she's totally confident about it, and he's like blushing. I love that type of stuff. So this looks like it's going to be a lot of fun for me. So I'm going to be checking this one out. And then we have Girlfriend Season 2. Peak anime. This is in my top 3 most anticipated shows as well. This, Arknights, and Frieren. We haven't gotten to Arknights yet because people suck and it's not in the top 5 most anticipated shows, even though it was fantastic. But anyways, so this, Frieren, and Arknights are in my top 3. This is number 2 or 3 because Arknights is number 1. But this is number 2 or 3. I love it. I love the manga. It's so freaking good. Here we go. The second season of Kanojo mo Kanojo. After their hot springs trip, Naoya continues his relationship with both Saki and Nagisa, bringing along Milika, who kissed Naoya, and Shino, who has secretly romantic feelings for Naoya. They embark on a summer vacation full of romance with a fireworks festival, camping, in Okinawa. Milika's younger sister, Risa, also appears, making this romance into the neo-standard rom-com heat up even more. A season 2 filled with summer and swimsuits is about to begin. So, I've read this arc in the manga. dude, you guys don't even know what's going to happen. If you don't know what girlfriend is, basically you have this main guy, Naoya, who is dating this girl named Saki, the girl with the red hair there. And, they're having a fun time in high school, their relationship, yada, yada, yada. And then there's this girl named Nagisa, the girl on the bottom left with the dark blue hair, who confesses to Naoya as well. He finds her super attractive, and he goes to Saki, and he's like, hey, I don't want to pick and choose. Can I just date both of y'all? And she is like, huh? But then, because it's an anime, she agrees. And then he's dating both of them. And then the other two girls at the top, they start getting involved. It's hilarious. It's great. A lot of people think it's like genuinely bad, but I love it so much. It's so awesome. But anyways, if you just want to have a good time and just laugh at some anime, this anime is the one for you. The manga's great. The manga's over too, because once you watch this anime and you'll have to wait every week, you'll realize that you can't do it. You don't have it in you to wait. And so you'll read the manga and it's fantastic. You're welcome for the recommendation. Anyways, another rom-com. We have Kimi no Koto ga daisuki na 100 nin no kanojo. I believe the English title of this is The 100 Girlfriends Who Really, Really Love You or something like that. And it's another rom-com, but it has a terrible freaking long synopsis. So everybody strap in. Here we go. All right, I'm strapped in. Here we go. Aijo Rentaro tried again, but after asking 100 girls out on a date, he was rejected every single time. In desperation, he prays for guidance, only to be told by a god that his rejections were due to some cosmic error. Now the god is going to set things right by making sure that Aijo gets 100 dates. Except as things often do with gods, the dates come with one catch. 100 girls are destined to be Aijo's soulmate. Unless he returns their feelings each and every time, they'll die in horrible accidents. Sure enough, girls start confessing their love to Aijo left and right, but how is he supposed to choose? He doesn't want to kill anyone. I'm sorry. This sounds great. When he looks at each potential soulmate, it feels like a bolt of lightning. Can someone really love 100 other people? This hilarious romantic comedy takes the harem concept to a wild extreme. It sounds great. It sounds awesome. If you love these tropes and you love this genre, this is just like everything to the max. Like, he can't tell them no unless they die. Maybe he'll be like, Cap, the god's lying. And then we'll see like some girl like get hit by a bus or something like that. Dude. Maybe, there's probably some people being like, Israel, that's not funny. Yes, it is. This is a comedy. Can't you see the tag here? Comedy. Why would they put it there if it's not funny? I'm so excited for this. It sounds so good. It sounds so great. Anime of the year, bro. That's all I got to say. Anyways, here we go. Then we have Ron Kamonohashi's Forbidden Deductions. I believe we talked about this earlier this year, or at least I saw a headline that I almost covered. If I didn't cover it, I almost did. This is I believe a reboot of a, it might not be, but I believe it is a reboot of a pre-existing anime. If not, it's just a new anime of an adaptation of a manga that a lot of people know about, and it's a mystery. And it is this. The unusual duo brings the hidden truth into the light. Ron Komonohashi, a private investigator with serious issues, and Toto Maru Ishiki, a pure-hearted but dim police detective, team up to solve the most baffling mysteries. A thrilling detective story for a new generation from Akira Amano, creator of Reborn and El Dive. I'm going to check this out because we don't get enough mystery anime as is, and so I want to see it for that. And also, the manga, the source material, apparently is good. And so I love a good mystery. And so I'm excited to see it for that. And then we have the Kingdoms of Ruin, witches once blessed the human race with wisdom and peace. But the Radia Empire's gear expansion brought a culture of science that far surpassed magic, and witches were viewed as enemies, impeding the progress of civilization. Thus began the witch hunts. One human named Adonis, who was raised by a witch named Chloe, swears revenge against the human race that took his beloved mentor from him. What salvation can be found at the end of a bloodbath fueled by utter despair? I like the premise of this one. This one actually is one of the ones that I didn't even care what the source material said. I mean, I still looked at it because I like to see what the reception to the source material is, but it just sounds really interesting to me. And so I'm going to be checking this one out as well. Hopefully it's not mid. Anyways, we have another villainous anime. We've been getting like so many of these lately. I feel like, we got one like 2 years ago, and then after that, all hell broke loose and the doors were just open, and then this is all we've been getting. But I'm in love with the villainess is this. An ordinary office worker, Uhashire, wakes up in the body of the protagonist of her favorite otome game, Revolution. To her delight, the first person to greet her is also her favorite character, Claire Franchois, the main antagonist of the story. Now Ray is determined to romance Claire instead of the game's male leads, but how will her villainous lady love react to this courtship? So, I like this because... it's kind of like, I said this in the stream, it reminds me of why Ray Liotta ended up at the Duke's Mansion, which was an anime that came out in spring. And I really enjoyed that, where this girl dies, and then she reincarnates into a book that she read as the character Ray Liotta. And the character Ray Liotta is also supposed to die in the book, and she doesn't want to die twice. And so instead what she does is she gets together with the novel's main protagonist, who also might be the novel's antagonist, in order to, you know, move around like in the political structure of the world, so that way she can avoid her character's death and not die. And so this kind of sounds like that, where this girl, you know, it's just more on a comedic level, where this girl, you know, reincarnates into the protagonist of her favorite game. And she really likes the villain as a character, and I guess she's just like, I will love her forever, and she will be mine. And so now she's just gonna try to do that. I don't know which one of these two is the villain and which one isn't. I guess we'll see. I'm going to assume it's the blonde that's the villain, but I could be wrong. But anyways, that sounds like a lot of goofy fun. So, and it's a rom-com, guys. I had to. Okay. Then we have the Saint's magic power is omnipotent too. There's a sequel to the Saint's magic power is omnipotent, and they have a book as a synopsis. Everybody, strap back in. Okay. No more sound effects. Okay, my sinuses are like, they're causing my brain to explode. Okay, here we go. The second season of Seijo no Mariyoko wa Bano desu. Sei is an office worker in her 20s, was suddenly summoned to another world as a saint. Taking advantage of her natural love of plants, she started working at a medicinal plant in research institute. In addition, Sei's evaluation explodes when she activates a tremendously powerful purification magic in monster subjugation. Being officially recognized as a saint, she gains people's respect as the savior of the kingdom of Salutania. Those who watch over and support her are Johan and Jude from the Research Institute, Yuri from the Imperial Court Mage Division, and Albert Hawk, the Ice Knight, who is attracted to each other but is still less than a lover. Even after becoming the most important person in the kingdom, Sei remains obsessed with research, but her relationship with Albert gradually deepens, and there is a new development in their love story. I haven't watched the first season, and this in no way interests me at all, so I'm not watching it. Then we have Dead Mount Deathplay Part 2. I did not like Dead Mount Deathplay Part 1. I thought it was bad. I thought it was really bad. And so I just don't want to watch it to keep ranting about it. I would rather just let those people enjoy it, and I'm just going to pass on this one. So hope y'all have fun with that. Then we have Ragna Crimson here, which I believe we talked about once. Maybe not. I can't remember. Between some of the stories I know for sure we've talked about, like if they're a title story, I know we've talked about it. But then there's smaller stuff that I mention in an episode, and then there's stories that I don't cover because we don't have time, but they're still interesting to me, and so I still read through the articles and, you know, read all that stuff, almost as if I'm preparing for the episode, but I don't actually talk about it. So this may have been one of those, or I may have actually talked about it. I don't remember. But anyways, I'll still read the synopsis. Dragons reign terror over the earth, sea, and sky. If sworn dragon hunters like Ragna are to have any hope of dealing death to these seemingly invincible fire-breathing beasts, they must find a way to level the odds. Ragna teams up with a mysterious man named Crimson, who is likewise sworn to stand against the dragons menacing the world. But although Crimson's motivations may be mysterious, his goal and Ragna's perfectly align, and together they will they'll fight to vanquish the dragons once and for all. And the first episode will have an hour, or a runtime of 1 hour. This one sounds interesting to me. Sounds like a lot of fun. The trailer looked fun in terms of the action and the animation going on there. And yeah, I don't know. It also has a 1 hour episode runtime. I love to support those, so I'm going to watch it for that. And yeah, I'm going to be checking out Ragna Crimson. Then we have The Vexations of a Shut-In Vampire Princess. Actually, give me 1 second here. Okay, here we go. The Vexations of a Shut-In Vampire Princess. 3 years later, 3 years into her life as a shut-in vampire, Terekomari Gandasblood, Komari for short, awakens to find that she's been appointed as a commander in the Mole Knight Imperial Army. The thing is, her new unit consists solely of belligerent ruffians who revolt against their superiors at the slightest hint of weakness. Although Komari hails from a line of vampires as powerful as they are prestigious, her refusal to drink blood has made her the picture of mediocrity, scrawny, uncoordinated, and inept at magic. With the odds stacked against her, will the help of her trusty and slightly infatuated maid Vil be enough for this recluse to blunder her way to success, or will Komari rue the day that she ever left the safety of her room? This one did not interest me from the synopsis, and so if I hear good things about it, I may check it out, but didn't get anything from me right off the bat. Then we have the Demon Sword Master of Excalibur Academy. And it says, 1,000 years ago, Leonis Death Magnus, undead sorcerer and the greatest of the Dark Lords, entered magical stasis during a climactic battle. When he awakens, he finds a beautiful silver-haired young woman named Rosilia standing before him. More shockingly, Leonis has been transformed into a 10-year-old boy. Now he'll have to adapt to this strange era and deal with the twisted monsters called Voids, all while keeping his true powers a secret from his lovely new guardian. This one didn't really sound all that interesting to me. Once again, as we get lower on the list, I think we'll notice that where I'll get to shows that don't really sound all that interesting more often than not. And so there's going to be a lot of the red X's here rather than the check marks, as you can see down there. So I'm personally not interested in this one, but as with all of these things that I'm not interested in, just from the synopsis, if I hear good things about it, I will probably check it out. Then we have Shangri-La Frontier, which is one I'm super excited about, and I'm surprised more people are not talking about this. When was the last time I played a game that wasn't crap? This is a world in the near future where games that use display screens are classified as retro. Anything that can't keep up with state-of-the-art VR technology is called a crap game. And you see a large number of crap games coming out. Those who devote their lives to clearing these games are called crap game hunters. And Rakuro Hizutome is one of them. The game he's chosen to tackle next is Shangri-La Frontier, a god-tier game that has a total of 30 million players. Online friends, an expansive world, encounters with rivals, these are changing Rakuro and all other players' fates. The best game, adventure tale by the strongest crap game player, begins now. This one sounds a lot of fun to me. It sounds a lot like I love to see these games, these VR game anime where they actually don't just reincarnate into the world. Stuff like Sword Art Online where they're actually just playing the game. I know that in the first arc they were stuck there. And as far as they knew, they weren't getting out. And the same thing in the Alicization arc, Kirito was stuck in there. But it's still like the choice to play the game and not to. I think that the art style looks like a lot of fun. I like the synopsis going on there. It sounds like a lot of fun to me. And I just want to support it because we don't get a lot of anime like this. So I hope it's good. And I would implore all of you to at least check this out because with how much I'm interested in this, I'm surprised that even a decent amount of people aren't talking about it. And it doesn't even have to be like one of the most anticipated anime coming out, but I'm surprised more people aren't talking about it. It's more silent. Before this, I hadn't heard a single thing about it other than news headlines and stuff like that. But the conversation on this has been dead. And so that was really sad to see. And so I hope that, it's one of those things that surprise everybody and just blows up. That's my hope. Then we have MF Ghost. 202XAD, a future beyond Initial D. Self-driving cars are in widespread use in Japan, and public roadways are used for auto racing. In such an era, a race called MFG has become less popular around the globe. Porsche, Ferrari, Lamborghini participants are invited to race with their fastest cars. One such participant, a British racing school graduate, Kanata Rivington, returns to Japan to achieve his goal. So, This is a sequel to Initial D. I don't know if it's actually a sequel, more so as it just takes place in that franchise. But either way, we don't get a lot of racing anime too, so I want to support this as well. I like the art style. It just looks different. I know that some people probably think it might look bad and strange. I kind of like how different it looks. It definitely is eye-catching. And so I kind of want to see how this plays out. One thing that looks really weird to me is the CG cars. It goes from, these people, like these animated people, and everything else is hand-drawn, basically. Then you get to the cars, and suddenly it's all CG driving around. And so it's a little jarring to cut back and forth to, like, inside the car, you see the racer, and then outside of the car, and you see a CGI car driving around. It was a little weird. It was a little strange, but hopefully, maybe that was just in the trailer, and, maybe production's gotten a little bit... maybe that was in the early stage of production is what I'm trying to say. And now it's a lot smoother and maybe more, the lines are easier to, it's more blurred together rather than such a jarring shift between animation styles is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to be checking this out simply because I want to support this. Then we have Berserk of Gluttony. Fate Barbatos has never tasted real power. Born with the magic skill Gluttony, he constantly hungers in a way that can't be satiated, and has been shunned and looked down upon his entire life. One day, while working as a gatekeeper for a noble family and fighting a trespassing thief, he discovers Gluttony's true power. When he kills someone, he devours their skills and feeds his gnawing hunger at last. In that grisly realization, Fate is awakened to his true potential. How many lives will he feed on to satisfy his hunger? And is the world ready for the frightening warrior he will become? Sounds like a lot of fun to me. I like the animation going on here. And not for the reason you think. Get your eye out of the top left of that poster. I mean, that's not hurting me watching it, but I don't know. It looks like fun. This is the season where, like the anime season, where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have fun. If it sounds like fun at all to me, I'm just going to check it out. And if I don't like it, I don't have to keep watching it, but I'll at least check it out. And that's the same thing here. Then we have A Returner's Magic Should Be Special. Shadow realms have ravaged the earth and decimated almost everyone in their way. The survival of humanity hinges upon the success of just 6 mages, including analytic fighter Desert Herman. The remaining heroes make one final stand to end the bloodshed, but to no avail. Desert closes his eyes on what should be the end of his life, only to open them and see the beginning of his school days. Desert has returned 13 years back to the past, where he's given another chance. A chance to see the loved ones he lost, and a chance to meet his fellow warriors again. And a chance to save the world. I like this. I like where usually we see this type of premise that has to do with an isekai, where someone will become younger, but they'll go into a different world. I like the idea where he straight up just dies, like the apocalypse happens, everyone dies, but then he wakes up younger and basically has a chance to redo everything again and to maybe prevent that all from happening. I like that premise. I like the stakes, because if he fails, does he just repeat again? Or if he fails, does he actually just straight up die that time? That'll be interesting to see there, and I'm interested in that as well. Then we have The Ancient Magus Bride Season 2 Part 2, the second core of Mahotsukai no Yome Season 2. More magical adventures await Elias, Chisei, and all of her new friends at college. Just how strong will Chisei's magic grow? I believe Part 1 is airing right now, or it aired in spring. All I know is I didn't watch it. I wasn't interested in the first season, so I haven't watched the second, so I'm not going to be checking this out. But if you guys are checking this out, you got 13 days. Here we go. Then we have Stardust Telepath. Konohoshi Umika is a high schooler who is very bad at communicating with others. Feeling almost like an alien trapped on Earth with nowhere to begin, one day she meets a girl who claims to be an actual alien. I like the animation style they got going there. I don't know. Look, guys, I'm sorry. Look, I can't help what I'm interested in. It just sounds fun to me. Okay, that's it. I'm moving on. Leave me alone. Then we have A Girl and Her Guard Dog. And now, before I even read the synopsis, I'm going to be watching this purely because of like the discourse this has caused in the anime community. Some good, some bad. A lot of it has just been very controversial and weird. And so I kind of just want to see what's going on here before I actually make a decision on, what's going on with it or whatever. I just kind of want to see what all the fuss is about. 15-year-old Isaku Sengaki, the granddaughter of the third boss of the Sengaki crime syndicate, just wants to have normal friends and a normal high school romance. She enrolls in a high school far from her hometown, but the overprotective young leader, 26-year-old Keiya Uto, lies about his age and bribes his way into the same school as Isaku, telling Isaku she's too young to fall in love. Keiya is ready to scare off all the boys, but actually Isaku has had unrequited feelings for Keiya this whole time. No way. I don't know why this. I mean, I've seen some screenshots, I guess, from it, but I don't know why this has everybody in such a fuss. So I'm going to see what all the heck is going on myself, and we'll see what's going on there. Then we have Nanatsu no Taizai Mokushiroku no Yonkoshi, or the Seven Deadly Sins. Whatever season this is, season 58. There we go. Percival is a kind boy who lives out of the frontier called the Finger of God, along with his grandfather. However, the world was not kind enough to let peace and tranquility last for long. An encounter with a mysterious knight changed their destiny, and a shocking truth comes to light. The boy then sets off on an endless journey. So, I haven't watched the Seven Deadly Sins, and I feel like it's just, I'm way too behind on it, that I'm not going to watch it. There we go. Sorry to disappoint everyone. Then we have the last one of the top 30, and that is Shy. Around the middle of the 21st century, all war on Earth ceased. The sudden widespread appearance of heroes, people with supernatural powers who wished only for peace, has drastically transformed the world. In a world where the heroes of each country work to maintain this newfound peace, the one protecting Japan is a young girl named Shy, who is cripplingly shy. This sounds like a lot of fun. It gives me a little bit of My Hero Academia vibes. The source material seems to be fantastic. And so I'm definitely going to be checking this out as well. And then something that I'm very sad about, because it's not in the top 30 at all, is my most anticipated anime of the season. And that is Arknights Paris and Frost. This one I'm watching because the first season of this was my anime of the year last year. I loved it. I felt it was incredibly underrated and underappreciated. The people that watched it thought it was okay, but not even that many people watched it. So I recommend that everybody please go to watch it. It's for a gacha game adaptation. It's stupidly good. I love the politics going on in it. I love the tone. I love the production is like insane. Like whoever's directing this, bro, like their choice of shot composition and how to edit these scenes together, mind-blowingly good. But I'll read the synopsis here as well, because they can probably say what it's about better than I can. Arypathy, an incurable disease that slowly crystallizes the bodies of those infected until their deaths. Rose Island is a pharmaceutical company that endeavors to find a cure and solve the problems that follow the disease's wake. And in an attempt to put a stop to the revolt of the terrorist organization known as Reunion Movement, whose ultimate goal is the salvation of the infected, Rhodes Island has formed a contract with the Yanase city of Lungmen and continues its mission there. However, Amiya has found herself despondent since their battle against Skull Shatterer, unable to accept the fate that they were unable to save Misha. In the meantime, Rhodes Island deploys a reconnaissance squad to an abandoned city discovered in the Lungmen countryside. There, the squad notices a strange phenomenon unfolding before them. Now, the way that synopsis plays out, and I think the way that that a lot of people are spinning it, is that Reunion is just bad and everyone else is like good. And it never struck me as that. It seemed to me that every single group was in shades of gray, and Reunion may have been a darker gray than everyone else, but you could understand why everyone was doing what they were doing. You know, everybody was just like trying to do what they thought was best for the world. And I just love it because you kind of understand everyone's point of view. You may agree with one side more than another. Like I agree with Rhodes Island more than I do with Reunion, or with what Lungmen is trying to do, whatever. All those different factions. We might even get a new faction in this season. But everything going on, I've just loved how complicated and nuanced everything has been. And I really recommend you guys watch it. It's only 8 episodes. It's an incredibly short season that came out last year, and I assume it's probably going to be the same thing with this one. But guys, that is it for the top 31, if you count Arknights, most anticipated anime of the fall 2023 anime season. You can always go to anychart.net to go and read the rest of these, because there are shows down here that I didn't have time to go into. One, because the interest for them simply is not high, and also it would just kind of be overlong to talk about shows that people probably aren't going to watch. And then if you scroll down even further down here, I don't know why it jumped, but if you scroll down even further down here, you start to get into the OVAs and the music, the movies that are going to be coming out. You get continuing shows that are going to be continuing from the previous season, yada, yada, yada. And you have stuff that's also going to be dropping in one swoop. Tons of stuff here. That's why I like to use AnyChart. I like the way that they kind of organize everything there. But anyways, we're going to move on into the actual news this week. And so we only have 3 stories that I want to talk about. And one is this. This comes to us from Anime News Network, and they say this. Nippon TV to acquire Studio Ghibli as a subsidiary. If you don't know what Nippon TV is, I have the Wikipedia thing. I could have, done it myself, like told you what it is, but I feel like this will just be a lot easier and more concise. Nippon Television Network Corporation, also known as Nippon TV, and with the call sign, yada, yada, don't care, is a Japanese commercial broadcast television network. It is a subsidiary of the certified broadcasting holding company, Nippon Television Holdings, Incorporated, and is also the flagship station of the Nippon News Network and Nippon Television Network system. So they've obviously been in media production for a while, and they have a ton of subsidiaries. They themselves are a subsidiary. And it seems like they may acquire Ghibli. And so this is very interesting to see. Ghibli's had an incredibly interesting year. The Nippon TV, or NTV, television broadcasting company, announced on Thursday that it has decided to acquire 42.3% of the shares of the world-famous animation studio, Ghibli. This transaction, once completed, would make NTV the largest shareholder of Ghibli, and turn the studio into a subsidiary of Nippon TV. Both companies called an urgent press conference on Thursday with Nippon TV Representative Director and Operating Officer Yoshikuni Sugiyama and Ghibli President and co-founder Toshio Suzuki, mutually announcing the planned acquisition. During the press conference, Suzuki admitted that a search for a successor for the studio's co-founders, which includes studio's acclaimed director Hayao Miyazaki, was what prompted the acquisition plans. Suzuki noted that Miyazaki is 82 years old and Suzuki himself is 75. The studio did approach Miyazaki's son Goro Miyazaki many times to become a successor to run the studio, but the younger Miyazaki has so far refused all offers. And Hayao Miyazaki also opposes his son becoming the studio's head. NTV has been in talks with Ghibli for a possible acquisition since last year. Ghibli and Hayao Miyazaki have had a long relationship with NTV, dating back to the airing of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind on NTV's then new Kenya Roadshow movie programming block in 1985. Miyazaki's films have since regularly aired on the block, to consistently high ratings. NTV once hosted Ghibli's official website until Ghibli began using its host name. So basically what all this is saying, if you want me to condense it really easily, is Ghibli's co-founders and Ghibli's, president or head are both getting up there in age. They're looking for someone to take over the company. They can't really find anyone that everyone can agree on, or anyone that would really take up the position that would be qualified for it. And so what they've done is they've resorted to I say resorted as if it's a bad thing. They've gone to their friends at Nippon TV. They have a good relationship with them, a long relationship of a partnership where Ghibli has put their films on in TV, as they said, to high ratings, and they have a good relationship with them. And so they're basically just like, hey, buy a lot of us. We'll just sell it to you. And, then you can basically be the subsidiary, and then the choice to, it won't be in free fall once, we retire. If we don't find someone, you guys will be able to do that. And so this doesn't sound too bad to me. It'll look probably a lot like what Hollywood acquisitions look like, when, why did my thing go black? Hello? Okay, there it is. I don't know why that went dark. Like how Disney bought Fox, or with all the acquisitions that have been going on in Hollywood, where Discovery bought Warner Brothers. It'll be stuff like that where we won't really notice a lot ourselves, but the inner workings and management inside may get restructured a bit here in a few years. But the actual ramifications of this, it hasn't even happened yet, so it's still going to be a long ways off. But even once that happens, we won't see the effects of that until even after, years and years after. And so this doesn't make me feel a little nervous or anything like that because they do have a good relationship. So I assume that these people know what they're doing with Ghibli, and I trust that the people running Ghibli know that these people will be the best decision for it. But, who's to say? But anyways, we have another thing here, which is Watari-kun's blank, blank, blank is about to collapse receives an anime adaptation. In the 10th issue of Kodansha's monthly young magazine, it was announced that the Watari-kun's Beep is about to collapse manga series will be receiving an anime adaptation. The magazine was released on September 20th, coinciding with the release of the series' final 2 chapters. More details about the anime's production and format will be announced in the future. The news was also confirmed, yada, yada, yada. This is a very popular manga, so this is probably going to be coming out, I would say, late 2024, maybe early 2025, but still probably a ways off. And then, they give like some of the tags and stuff here, but here's the synopsis for those of you guys who don't know what this is. Naoto Watari has had his share of struggles. His parents died 2 years ago, and now he and his sister live at his aunt's house. There, his desire to protect his sister earned him notoriety as the guy with the sister complex, which never mattered to him, as his sister always came first. But when Satsuki, a childhood friend turned enemy, becomes his schoolmate, Naoto's ordinary life is thrown into chaos, and Satsuki may just be the beginning. It sounds fine. I would like to... I haven't read this, so this is... I'm just talking about this because I know how big it is. The manga, but I personally haven't read it, and so I don't know too much about it other than just the synopsis and these few panels. And this news also broke, I believe, like pretty soon before I filmed, or like the details about it. I could be wrong, but the articles that I use, I saw it after. But anyways, then there's one last thing I want to talk about here, which is this. If it wants to load, it never loads for me. Anime Corner, you got to work on your stuff. Okay, anyways. Arknights Paris and Frost reveals opening and ending themes in the new trailer. Obviously, I cannot play the trailer, but we can look at some of the visuals and we can still talk about it. And we can talk about who's doing the songs. And so we have Myth and Royd is performing opening title Ache and Pulse, while Riona, who I love, she's done a lot of Sword Art Online stuff, super talented, one of my favorite people in the industry, is doing the ending song RIP, or RIP, and the anime will premiere on October 6th. I'm very excited for this. I haven't seen the trailer because they haven't done anything here. I guess I can look it up real quick. Let's do this. Arknights Paris and Frost trailer. And then here it is. Okay, so I'll mute it so we don't get copyrighted anything. And then here we go. Yeah, so this is Arknights. I love the way that these shots are done. Like the way that the lighting is done. It kind of has this really dark, grungy feel, which is mainly what I'm talking about here. I don't want to let too much of it play at once because that could get us demonetized or something like that. But anyways, yeah, I'll have to listen to this in my own time so that way I don't get this demonetized. But yeah, I love Arknights. That's the only reason I'm talking about it. It's because I love Arknights. Leave me alone. All right. Now let's get into the second to last thing. There's no Goofy Woofy anime community again this week. Nothing funny's really been happening. I mean, there's stuff I could cover, but nothing of consequence really that I think y'all would be interested in. So we're just going to move right into the audience rankings, and this time it is the Anime Trending audience rankings, which we haven't done in a while because we've missed a couple Thursday episodes in a row for various reasons. So here we go. At number 1, we have Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation Season 2, which went up 1 spot to number 1. Then we have Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, which went up 2 spots to number 2. My Happy Marriage has spent 2 weeks at number 3. The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses went up 1 spot to number 4. Rent a Girlfriend Season 3 went up 3 spots to number 5. Harimi of the Missing Pieces went up 3 spots to number 6. Reign of the Seven Spellblades stayed at number 7 for 2 weeks now. Dark Gathering went down 2 spots to number 8. Bleach 1000 Year Blood War: The Separation is re-entry into the top 10, and it came back in at number 9. And Bungo Stray Dogs Season 5, I don't know if you can read that, has spent 3 weeks at number 10. If you can read that there. It's there. I promise. Anyways, I'll have to find a way to get these to show up properly. And then moving on to the final part of the show, we're going to read your comments and your questions from the previous episode of the Otaku Experience. If you want to know how to get your comment or question read on the next episode, hopefully that would be on Sunday, just hop into the comment section down below. Tell me what anime you're planning to watch in this next season. Tell me what you're thinking about these stories, about Ghibli getting acquired, and other stuff like that. Or just, say whatever the case may be. If you're just like, hey, Israel, I just thought you looked nice today. Or if you're like, hey, what are your thoughts on, freaking Love Shinibio and Other Delusions? I'd be like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. I like it, stuff like that. Anyways, we're going to get into the comments here. Starting with Taintree 1577. Glad to hear about Blue Period getting some love. I love Blue Period. I also really like anime about passion and working hard. Barakamon is another good one about a calligrapher. Did I just say that? Calligrapher looking for inspiration in the simple things. I haven't heard of that one, but Blue Period. Yeah, that underrated show. And I also really like shows about passion and working hard. I think we went on into a big tangent about that in the previous episode. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on that. Then we have Crystal 411. Burn the Witch is a pretty good anime. Also recommend the Boy and the Beast anime movie for anyone who has not seen it. Duly noted. I will write that down, and hopefully I will have a chance to check that out. Then we have JDP Andrews 1458. Stranger Things wouldn't have had an upcoming 5th season if Netflix 100% absolutely followed the motto you outlined. Well, but that's just getting into semantic stuff, sure. But at the same time, I can understand the argument of Stranger Things, probably wouldn't have gotten all these seasons if it wasn't its flagship show. But we're still seeing people make Netflix accounts to watch Stranger Things, so it's still bringing in an audience. So I still think it's true what their model is, and that's also the model that other streaming services have followed as well. It's not just a Netflix thing, but whatever. Then we have JR Icardo 05H1, and they said, "I'm here first. I guess you were here first." That's awesome. Congratulations. Hopefully you're here first for this episode. But anyways, guys, with all that out of the way, that is it for this episode of the Otaku Experience. I want to thank all of you so much for watching. If you want to keep up with me outside of the Otaku Experience and outside of the Burnett Network, you can always follow me on YouTube, my main channel at Kingtanic. There it is. I keep looking at the preview, which is over here, but it's here. No, it's here. Wait, there we go. Okay. You can follow me on YouTube at Kingtanic, or follow me on Instagram at Kingtanic. You can follow me on Twitter at Kingtanic Israel. If you want to watch more shows on the Burnett Network, we have a ton of shows that you can watch every single day, including but not limited to Robservations, Ladies of the PGS, Architects of Imagination, K-Pasa PGS, Midnight Musings, Let's Get Physical Media, and of course, the Otaku Experience. With that being said, guys, that's going to do it for me, and I will hopefully see you all on Sunday.